Hello students, let us discuss the solution to the assignment which I had given you in the last week. So in the assignment we deal with the data about number of deaths within 30 days of the heart transplant surgery. Then let it be denoted by Y. Then Y is modeled by a Poisson random variable. Y is modeled as a Poisson random variable with mean E lambda, where lambda is called as mortality rate. Now, in order to decide the prior distribution of lambda, two experts' opinion is taken into consideration, and then according to the first expert's opinion, a gamma prior is attached to the parameter lambda. So the gamma prior with this distribution, so shape is 1.5 and rate is 1000. Then similarly, according to the second expert's opinion, another gamma prior is decided. So let it be denoted by G2 lambda, which is gamma with parameters 7 and 1000. Now, because both the experts' opinions are to be taken into consideration finally, so a prior distribution which gives equal weightage to both the experts is constituted by taking zero point 0.5 times G1 plus 0.5 times G2 lambda. So this is the prior distribution, 0.5 times G1 lambda plus 0.5 times G2 lambda. Now the first question was plot the prior distribution. So we have plotted this prior distribution in R. When we go to R and see the solution to this assignment, then we will see how the plot can be obtained. Now the second question was, if the observed value of Y, that is the number of deaths, is 4 and the observed value of E is 1767, then find the posterior distribution of lambda. So let us see how it can be done. So now because Poisson model is assumed, so the probability that Y equal to 4 given lambda will be this, with the mean 1767 times lambda. So the joint distribution of Y and lambda will be the product of conditional distribution of Y given lambda multiplied by the prior distribution, which is written like this. So if you substitute the values, means if you treat this as P of Y given lambda, and if you take this inside, this will be simply 0.5 times P of Y given lambda into G1 lambda plus 0.5 times P Y given lambda into G2 lambda. Now let us see how it can be simplified further. So let us substitute the expressions of G1, Py given lambda and G2 lambda here. So suppose the first prior is referred to as gamma beta 1 alpha and the second prior is referred to as gamma beta 2 alpha. Then the PDF will be alpha raised to beta 1 by gamma beta 1 e raised to minus alpha lambda lambda raised to beta 1 minus 1. Similarly, the second prior will be like this. So finally, the joint distribution of Y and lambda will be like this. So notice that some terms can be taken common. So for example, the exponential terms can be merged, then the power terms of lambda can be merged, and the rest of the terms can be kept aside. So here alpha is 1000, beta 1 is 1.5 and beta 2 is 7. So let us see how it can be simplified further. So now P of Y given lambda is 0.5 times alpha raised to beta 1 by gamma beta 1. See here, alpha raised to beta 1 by gamma beta 1 e raised to minus alpha plus e times lambda lambda raised to y plus beta 1 minus 1, and these 1 upon y factorial will be there. Similarly, the second term will be like this. So this is the joint distribution. So in order to find the marginal distribution of y, we will have to integrate out lambda from this distribution. So the integration of e raised to minus alpha plus e lambda lambda raised to y plus beta 1 minus 1 over the range 0 to infinity will be gamma of y plus beta 1 upon alpha plus e raised to y plus beta 1 into the rest of the terms will be there as it is. Similarly, for the second term, the integration will be like this. So if you can rearrange the terms like this: alpha raised to beta 1 e raised to y upon alpha plus e raised to y plus beta 1 into gamma of y plus beta 1 gamma of beta 1 into 1 by y factorial. Similarly for the second term. So thus the probability that y is equal to 4 will be, if you substitute the values of E, alpha, beta 1, beta 2 and y, you get the probability to be equal to 0.05852129. Okay, now let us see how posterior distribution can be computed. Now the posterior distribution is joint upon marginal. So P of y given by P of y and y lambda upon P of y. So it will be like this. Now what I am doing is I am trying to simplify the terms. So this can be written as 0.5 times e raised to minus this term e lambda raised to y by y factorial into this is g1 lambda upon py. So what I am doing is I am separating these two terms. So I am dividing the first term by py and the second term by py in order to see whether it can be simplified further. So we have this setup. Now here again I will combine the term minus alpha plus e times lambda, lambda raised to y plus beta 1 minus 1 upon y factorial into alpha raised to beta 1 by gamma beta 1 into e raised to y 0.5 upon py. So let us call this first term as t1, similarly the second term as t2. So let us see if we can simplify t1 plus t2. So here t1 is this, similarly t2 is the second term. So T1 is this. So let us see how T1 can be simplified. Now notice that here there are only two terms which contain lambda. The first term is the exponential term and the second term is the power term. So it will be e raised to minus e plus alpha lambda into lambda raised to y plus beta 1 minus 1. If you treat it as a function of lambda, then the rest of the terms are constants. So I have collected them together. The rest of the terms means the terms not containing lambda, and I am calling it as delta 1. And one more adjustment I have done, that is I have multiplied and divided it by the term e plus alpha raised to y plus beta 1 upon gamma of y plus beta 1. So why have I done that? So because notice that if you focus only on these two terms, you can easily realize that these terms are nothing but the terms belonging to a gamma PDF with parameters e plus alpha and y plus beta 1. So if the parameters are like this, then a complete gamma PDF can be created by multiplying these two terms by e plus alpha raised to y plus beta 1 upon gamma of y plus beta 1. Similarly, so whatever remains there, I am calling that as delta 1. So delta 1 will be 0.5 upon py alpha raised to beta 1 upon gamma of beta 1 e raised to y upon y factorial into reciprocal of this, which is gamma of y plus beta 1 upon e plus alpha raised to y plus beta 1. Similarly, we can write T2 as delta 2 times these terms. So whatever we are doing for T1, we have repeated the procedure for T2. So delta 2 will be like this here. So now it looks like some terms are appearing familiar. So let us see if we can simplify this further. So for this, let us first go back to the distribution, marginal distribution of y, and let us see if we can simplify this more. So here I have already written a remark that the distribution of y can be written as a mixture of two probability mass functions. So let us see how it can be achieved. So see here, let us go back to the distribution of y. So see, this was the expression of the distribution of y. So see this, alpha upon alpha plus e raised to y plus beta 1 into e raised to y upon this. So what can be done is this alpha plus e raised to y plus beta 1 I can split as alpha plus e raised to y and alpha plus e raised to beta 1, and then the power beta 1 can be taken common. So that I will have alpha upon alpha plus e raised to beta 1, and that will be multiplied by e upon alpha plus e raised to y. So let us see what happens if we do that. So see here, alpha upon alpha plus e raised to beta 1 into e upon alpha plus e raised to y. Now what remains is gamma of y plus beta 1, gamma beta 1 into y factorial. Now gamma of y plus beta 1 I will keep as it is. Gamma of beta 1 can be written as beta 1 minus 1 factorial into y factorial. Now notice that beta 1 is not an integer. It is actually a fraction which is 1.5. So I cannot write this as a factorial of y plus beta 1 minus 1. If I was able to write it as a factorial, then this whole term would have become y plus beta 1 minus 1 choose y, and so this would have become a PMF of negative binomial distribution. But that is not the case because beta 1 is not an integer. So I have kept it as it is. Similarly, this second term, in the second term I'll have, instead of beta 1 I'll have beta 2. So now notice that beta 2 is an integer. So gamma of y plus beta 2 can be written as y plus beta 2 minus 1 factorial. So as a result, this term actually can be written, this ratio of factorial terms can be written as y plus beta 2 minus 1 choose y. And so this, as a result, this second term, this term, these three terms constitute PMF of negative binomial distribution with parameters beta 2 and y, sorry, with parameters beta 2 and alpha e upon alpha plus e. So that would have been the parameters here. So notice that this, nonetheless, this first distribution, even though beta 1 is a non-integer term, still this term can be treated as a probability mass function. The second term can be treated as a probability mass function. And so as a result, we have written P of y as a mixture of two probability mass functions. So this first one will be uh, called as P1y and the second one will be called as P2y. So we have written Py as a mixture of equal mixture of P1y and P2y. So let us use this expression of Py in the derivation of the posterior distribution of lambda. So the posterior distribution of lambda given y will be simply delta 1 times this term. See here, we have derived it already, T1 and T2, T1 and T2. T1 plus T2 was simply the posterior distribution of lambda. So pi of lambda given y was equal to T1 plus T2, where T1 and T2 were written like this. So if we substitute it back here, we get pi of lambda given y as delta 1 times this term plus delta 2 times this term. Now notice that this term is nothing but the density function of gamma PDF with parameters y plus beta 1 and e plus alpha. Similarly, the second term is density function of gamma with parameters y plus beta 2 and e plus alpha. So I can write uh, the posterior distribution as a mixture of two gamma densities, where delta 1 and delta 2 represent the mixing proportions. Here I have simplified the expressions for delta 1. So delta 1 was simply 0.5 times P1y upon Py. See here, this was the expression of delta 1. Now notice that this part is nothing but the expression of P1y in delta 1. This part is nothing but the expression of P1y. Similarly, in delta 2, this part is nothing but the expression of P2y. So thus delta 1 is simply 0.5 times P1y by Py, and similarly delta 2 is 0.5 times P2y by Py. But Py itself is 0.5 times P1y plus 0.5 times P2y. So 0.5 will get cancelled from everywhere. And finally, delta 1 is simply P1y upon P1y plus P2y, and similarly the expression for delta 2. So notice that delta 1 and delta 2, these are the mixing proportions which depend on the constant, the terms P1y and P2y. Now notice that P1y actually represents the prior predictive distribution of the random variable y, that is the number of deaths, if G1 lambda is chosen as the prior distribution. Similarly, P2y would have been the prior predictive distribution if G2 lambda was chosen as a prior distribution of lambda. So thus delta 1 indirectly measures the contribution of first prior distribution, that is the opinion of the first expert when it comes to the posterior distribution. Similarly, delta 2 measures the uh, opinion about the number of deaths of the second expert through the posterior distribution. So thus, if delta 1, here all this I have written here. So thus pi lambda finally is delta 1 times pi 1 lambda. So I am calling this as pi 1 lambda given y, this as pi 2 lambda given y. So thus delta 1 pi lambda given y is delta 1 times pi 1 lambda given y plus delta 2 times pi 2 lambda given y. Now observe that if G1 is chosen as the prior distribution of lambda, then pi 1 lambda will be the posterior distribution of lambda, and similarly if G2 is the prior, then pi 2 will be the posterior. So thus in the prior both the experts' opinions were treated equally, because finally the prior distribution G lambda was 0.5 times G1 lambda plus 0.5 times G2 lambda, whereas in the posterior distribution the experts opinions carry the weightage represented by delta 1 and delta 2. So if delta 1 is greater than delta 2, the data supports first expert's opinion. Now why do I say this? Because notice that delta 1 and delta 2 are the mixing proportions observed in the posterior distribution. Now when you derive the posterior distribution, basically what you do is you update the distribution of the parameter by utilizing the data. So the data, if delta 1 is larger than delta 2, it will mean that the data is supporting the first prior distribution, which is the belief of first expert. So let us see how it can be done in R. So we are back to R. Let us see how the solution of the assignment can be carried out in R. So the first question was about plotting the prior distribution using the curve function in R. I had a specific purpose in mind while assigning this question to you. So far we have always plotted the graphs using the plot command or the lines command. We have not used the curve command. So this way we will get to use the command and we will get to know how to apply it as well. So here are the values which are given. Y observed is 4, alpha is 1000, beta 1 is 1.5, beta 2 is 7, E is 1767. Now let us first let us first write a R function in order to compute the prior distribution. So notice that the prior distribution is a mixture of G1 and G2. G1 is nothing but the gamma PDF with shape parameter beta 1 and rate parameter alpha. So I have computed the gamma PDF like this using the D gamma and now multiplied by 0.5, that will be the first term in the prior. Similarly, the second term in the prior will be the 0.5 times gamma PDF with shape beta 2 and rate alpha. So finally the prior distribution will be simply the addition of the two. So let us see how it can be how it can be implemented. So as you can see, let us see if the function is working well. So what is the prior PDF? Say at point node 1. Let us see how much it is. So it is large 207.8092. So I hope that the function is properly written. Now let us use the curve command. So the curve command works like this. See, if you scroll or hover over the command, you get to see the help. So curve, then in brackets specify the function which you want to plot, then specify the limits of the values for which you want to calculate the function. So I want to calculate it first from say 0 to, I give a value say 5 because it's a gamma random variable. Then I am labeling the x-axis as lambda. So a mathematical or a Greek letter can be used as a name or title of x-axis by using the command expression. So simply say x label is equal to, means x lab equal to expression, and in bracket specify the letter. So if you want alpha, say write alpha. If you want beta, write beta. So here we want lambda, so I have written lambda. Similarly, the y label, I want it to be g of lambda. So g bracketed lambda, that will be the label given to the y axis. So now let us see Let us try to plot this. Sorry, the plot did not appear because the figure margins were too low. Let us try to plot it again. Okay, so let us, what do you see? You can see that the graph increased, the function increased and then decreased, and then it is almost 0. So even before 0.5 it is 0. Means we need to change the limits of the y on the x-axis. So instead of from 0 to 5, let us take something smaller, say 2. So let us see what do we get. So again 2 is showing us a long tail, means we can reduce it further. So let us go up to 1. Let us see what do we get. So do you see a long tail? Still we are getting a long tail. So let us try to change it to say 0.5. Okay, so still not enough to know the shape, proper shape. You are not getting a clear idea regarding the shape. So let us go up to 0.1. Yes, so now it is looking a bit different. But if you want a clearer idea, I think I would go up to 0.03. So let us see how the plot will looks like if I go up to 0.03. Okay, so it gives a better picture. So see, this is how the graph of prior distribution looks like. So as you can notice, there are two peaks actually. One peak is just after 0.005 and one peak is very close to the point 0. So these two peaks are observed because it's a mixture distribution where the shape parameter is same, but the rate parameter is really large, which is 1000. Sorry, shape parameters are different, but the rate parameter is same. So because the rate parameter is same, so 1000. So because of the rate parameter, the range of the distributions is almost same. But because the shape parameters are different, so the curves are looking different here. So the first peak, this peak is due to the first part of the prior distribution, and this peak is due to the second part of the prior distribution. See, this is how you should try to interpret the plots of prior distributions. Now, the second question was to obtain the plot of posterior and prior distribution in the same graph. So, in order to get the plot of posterior distribution, first we must compute posterior distribution in R, and the posterior distribution cannot be computed unless we compute the prior predictive distribution, that is P1y and P2y. So let us first write a function to compute P1y. I am calling this as PMF1. So PMF1 is a user defined function here. So the argument which I am using is A. So the first uh, function, that is P1y, is simply alpha raised to beta 1 into e raised to y upon alpha plus e raised to beta 1 plus y into gamma of y plus beta 1 upon, then in the denominator we had gamma of beta 1 into y factorial. So I have written all these terms here. I am calling this as term 1. See here, alpha raised to beta 1 into e raised to a, then upon alpha plus e raised to beta 1 plus a, because a is the argument of the function. Then this ratio is multiplied by gamma of a plus beta 1 upon, now in the denominator I have two terms. One is gamma of beta 1 and the second term is y factorial, which is a factorial here. So let us see if this is working or not. So let us run this. Let us see what do we get. Point 0.2. So if I calculate it at 1, it is 0.20811. Can you plot it using the curve function? Let us try to plot it using the curve function. So PMF1. Then from, notice that this is a probability mass function. So we should not take fractional values. So I don't know whether we will be able to do this, but let us try. I have chosen 0 and 8 arbitrarily. There is no logic behind the choice. Okay, so see, this is how it is decreasing. Okay, so similarly, the second part of the probability distribution of y can be computed and can be called, that is P2y, and can be called as PMF2. So here I have computed PMF2. You can simply copy and paste above code and replace beta 1 by beta 2. That's it. It should work. Now PMFy means the probability mass function of y is simply 0.5 times PMF1 plus 0.5 times PMF2. Okay, so what will be the PMF at 4? We have been asked what is the chance that y equal to 4 will be observed. So PMF at 4 is 0.05852129. So this was the value which I had mentioned in the earlier part of the lecture. Now notice that the posterior distribution is delta 1 times P1y, sorry, delta 1 times pi 1 lambda plus delta 2 times pi 2 lambda, where delta 1 is simply P1 upon P1 plus P2 and delta 2 is P2 upon P1 plus P2. So let us first calculate delta 1 and delta 2. We are very eager to see what are the values. So delta 1 and delta 2 can be calculated by computing PMF1 at y observed upon PMF1 at y observed plus PMF2 at y observed. Similarly, delta 2 can also be calculated. So see what do we get? So 0.7597, which means it is almost 0.76, and delta 2 is around 0.24. So from 0.5 we change the proportion to, not we change, but the data changes the proportion, mixing proportion to 0.76 and 0.24. So it is clear that the first of the expert's opinion is getting supported by the data more, and so we should go with the opinion of the first expert. Means at least the posterior distribution is giving more weightage to the opinion of the first expert. So now let us see how posterior distribution can be conducted. So let us write a function. So suppose P is the argument of the function, then the function will be simply, the first term will be delta 1 times gamma PDF at point P with shape which will be equal to beta 1 plus the observed value of y, and rate will be simply alpha plus capital E. Similarly, the second term will be delta 2 into this part. So let us run this. So as you can see that the code is working. Let us see how much is the value. So in the earlier graph, the mode was somewhere very close to 0. So maybe 0.00, 0.01. So this will be 0.005. So it was even before that. So maybe 0.003. So let us see how much is the posterior PDF at at the 0.003. So it's again large, 207. So it's more, almost close to this value. Okay, so now let us plot the posterior and prior in the same graph. So I have chosen the values of lambda as a sequence from 0 to 0.03. See, you can start with 0.000001. It doesn't matter, but I want a line starting with 0. That's why I have started here with 0. You can start with 0.001 or 0.0001 as your first value of lambda. So I have taken the values of lambda here in a sequence. Now I am plotting the posterior distribution first, and then I will plot the prior, and then let us see how does it look like. Okay, so this is how the posterior distribution looks like. Note that this is not a bimodal distribution. In fact, there is only one mode, one peak. So why is it happening? We will discuss. So now let us add the lines of prior PDF to this graph. So I have given a red color. So red colored graph is nothing but the graph of prior distribution. Now, in order to understand why we are getting only one peak, I have added two lines to this graph. These two lines represent the posterior distributions pi 1 lambda and pi 2 lambda. So see, both these green lines represent the distributions pi 1 lambda and pi 2 lambda. Now note that this distribution is going above the graph. So we may start with this line first and then plot the rest of the lines. Means instead of plotting PS-PDF first, we can plot the first posterior. So we should start with this and we should move this up. So let us plot them again. Now do you realize? Oh, I'm sorry, the color needs to be changed. Here I want the color to be green. The first line. Okay, now let us try to plot. Oh, I'm sorry, there are two commas. So it did not work. Let us remove the extra comma. Now run it again. So this black one is the final posterior distribution. This red one is the, see, this black one is the final posterior distribution. This red one is the prior distribution. This first green curve is the posterior distribution if G1 lambda is chosen as the prior. The second green curve is the posterior distribution if G2 lambda is chosen as the prior. So notice that G1, so the pi 1 means that this curve is nothing but the plot of pi 1 lambda and this curve is nothing but the plot of pi 2 lambda. So now try to compare this. Notice that pi 1 lambda and pi 2 lambda are not far away from each other. They are slightly different in shape, but they are not different in variation, in terms of variation. And so, when it comes to calculating the posterior distribution, the first part dominates the second and the mode gets pulled towards the left side, and so the posterior distribution is having the mode almost at the point where the posterior with denoted by pi 1 also having mode. So this can be better explained if you have a Plotly graphs. So let us try to plot everything in Plotly. Because now you are in the third semester and in the fourth semester you would be doing project and more practicals, and it will be really useful to you if you are friendly with different graphical packages available in R. So in Bayesian inference we will be using Plotly whenever possible. So let us try to use the package Plotly here. So library Plotly. Now I am computing values of the prior distribution by applying the function prior on the vector la.val. So prior.val are nothing but the values of the prior PDF. Similarly, PS PDF1 will be values of pi 1 lambda. PS PDF2 contains values of pi 2 lambda, and PS PDF.val contains values of the posterior distribution, that is pi lambda. Now we have four vectors excluding lambda, means lambda, prior, PS PDF1, PS PDF2 and PS PDF.val. Notice that all these vectors have the same length, so they can be put together and can be treated as a data frame. So I am storing all of them together in D and I am treating it as a data frame because the Plotly graphs start with a data frame. So now suppose P is the Plotly graph where the data is to be extracted from the data frame D, where the x-axis is lambda.val and the y-axis. Now we start with the second posterior as we have done here also. PS-PDF2 was used here. So second posterior, that is pi 2 lambda, I am plotting first. Then I'll go on adding the lines to this graph. So adding the line is achieved by using the command add underscore stress here, and a line is added to the earlier graph by using this symbol percent greater than percent. So this sign helps in adding lines or segments to the existing graph. So let us first plot this a simple scatter plot first. So have a look at P here. It takes time, but see here. Okay, now let us go on adding these lines. So let us first add pi 1 lambda. This is the plot of pi 2 lambda. That is the plot of posterior distribution if G2 lambda is used as the prior. So let us go on adding these lines. So first I am adding PS-PDF1, that is pi 1 lambda. Then I am adding PS-PDF. Then I am adding prior distribution. And then I am naming the axis. So I am naming the x-axis as lambda. I am naming the y-axis as distributions. And I am attaching a title also to the graph, that is plot of prior and posterior distribution of lambda. So prior and posterior distributions of lambda. So let us see what do we get finally. Okay, so far good. Now, so see here. So see here, there are different graphs. So this one is the prior. So this is the advantage of plotting the graphs using Plotly. When you hover over the graph, you get to see the values. For example, if you stay here, see. If you stay here, it is 400 into 10, 400 into 10 raised to minus 5. That much will be the value. And 239.1887, that is the value of the PDF. So for example, if you look at here, see here the value of lambda, that is the x-axis, is 0.0016, and the value of the PDF at that point is 510.5344. So notice that this is the curve of pi 1 lambda. This is the curve of pi 2 lambda, and this, the curve with the dark maroon color, this is the curve of the posterior distribution. So notice that because this and this, they are large, so this term is comparatively larger than this term, so they are getting this first curve is dominating the second curve. So the posterior distributions mode is at 0.0017, and the largest value is 395.1605. So the posterior distribution appears to be unimodal. So let us stop here.